Hi, everybody. Welcome to weekly Genuine Trading's weekly market recap and portfolio recap. We had a short week this week because of Hurricane Sandy, so we really only had 3 days worth of trading. As you can see here, the only 3 days were Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I was saying on Wednesday how this looked like a little floating kind of rocket ship, little thing in the middle here, little head and shoulders pattern. And then even though we went up nicely, did fairly well on Wednesday, then Thursday had a really nice update. To give it all back Friday, given the jobs report was decent, was a little bit surprising. Google held fairly strong, relatively. Apple really gave it up. A couple of weeks ago, even after Apple had collapsed from that area that I had said on the way up here, I said this was probably going to come down to around the 600 area, and I covered right around the 630 area. I said we were going to 585 below. I actually think we're going to go even lower, probably not that much so, but what I've come up with here is take this to a daily. I think we're going to come down to this line in here. I'll take this out to a 2-day so you can see what this is all about. The top of this trend line, I think now that we're almost there breaking it, I think that the rest of the market comes down and we come down into this area. I'm going to draw one other line, and I'm not trying to be scary, but it's funny how that matches. This is a parallel line from here. Notice how it matches there and there perfectly. And I'm going to bring this out a little bit. Change the colors. Yeah, we can literally come back all the way into this line here and come into the mid 400s. So we literally could be down another 100 points here. I think we may experience some sort of real bad fall off. You've got sentiment is really bearish. Not bearish. It's sentiment is bullish in a way where it actually, I think it becomes bearish. I got an email from the people who run, what's it called? Stockcharts.com. I'm going to try and pull this up in another area because it goes to my personal AOL account. But they were saying something, let's hope I can find this really quickly. They were showing something about a bullish sentiment, which looked pretty bearish. And I like the chart. Here it is. It's called Chart Watchers by stockcharts.com. They talk about the bullish percent. And this is getting up here, and it's diverging. And it's really not too good. This is something that I consider as a really good gauge as to whether the market's, where it's going to go. And I think we got to fall. We got too many bulls up here. We need to wash them out. We need to get some more bears. And I think that's going to come from a very steep decline. So I want to give these guys credit at stockcharts.com for some of their work. Chip Anderson, good work. There's a lot of good people out there, and Genuine Trading, I help you find them. We don't claim to be great. We have our own opinion, but we also rely on the opinions of others. I'm the one that's putting together this opinion here. If we look at the S&P under the same kind of periscope, or it's a little bit different. I think we come down to here as the first test, but if we're really going to, I'm not going to call it crash, but really come down a lot, I think we can come down to the 1250, 1275 area on the S&P. Yeah, we're at 1400 and change. We could have an end of year debacle, coupled from over bullishness, this whole fiscal cliff, the election results, whatever they may be, Mayan calendar. You can have, the perfect storm of bad stuff coming through here. And I think we could really take things down here. I don't really see any reason for them to go up. If you look at the diamonds, which represent the Dow, here's a couple things I wanted you to look at. I'll change the color just so it looks a little bit easier. Very easy for this to break down, and for the Dow come back to 12,000 from 13,000. 1,000 points is nothing. You know, you get everything down, 6 to 8 points or so. Some things, are more higher priced, others lower. It's easy to do that. You can get oil prices down, take Chevron down, take ExxonMobil down, take IBM down a little bit, 3M, Procter & Gamble, Walmart. Yeah, take them all down a little bit. That's good. That could easily happen. You can see how quickly this sells off. This is in May. This is in August. This was in May. We're past August, November. Could we get this perfect storm in here? I think we can. I really do. I think we can. So, folks, be careful. I would say be in cash. Maybe you could play around with some potential takeover targets and stuff, but not even that much this year. I don't see any real reason to be in anything other than maybe there'll be some decent turnaround plays, but more so towards the end of the year, like the last couple of weeks, Santa Claus stuff. QQQ, I think that's already, notice that's already broken that line. Here's some other lines to take a look at, and then here's that other slanted line of the Qs. And where's that come down to? Right in here. Take 65, bring it down to 59, take 10% off. Could you get 10% off? Sure you can. It's not too hard. 10% off, it's nothing. God forbid we get an earthquake somewhere. You're going to have 10% off in 2 weeks. And then you know how these things fall. So what I'm saying here is, please be very careful. I said this on Amazon as well. I don't understand why Amazon is up this much. It did hit this 205 area in the aftermarket when they had earnings, but it rebounded up really, really strongly. That was a very good aftermarket action. I'll give them credit. They took it down, cleaned up everyone, and then ripped it right back up. I still think we come back down. Don't understand the valuations here, and I think they eventually come back in. This is the gap area. This is the long-term trend line. The market's coming down. This is coming down too. They're taking them all down. So where do I think they take them down to? Can you see the line? I see it too. Did you see how quickly I drew that? And I just looked at it. This is how you draw trend lines, top to top, to bottom, to bottom, to bottom. That's the trend line. It is one because I said so, and it is one because the dots connect. That's where you're going to come, I say, Amazon. Where's that going to be? 180s. 20, 50 points down. CRM, I said this in CRM, right up in here, right around the 149 area. They have a couple big candles like this, which technically could be bullish, could turn around. Maybe they have some good earnings. They could chase the shorts on this one. Still, I think they pulled them all down. Chipotle Mexican Grill. Look what they've already done to this. Former darling. This is at 420. They took it down almost to 220. Is there more? Probably, but, it's a little late to be shorting this. What about, what was that one I always liked that I always thought would be a good one? I've got the name in my head. It's not Microsoft. It's something with an M in it. Oh, God, I have it in my mind. All right, I'll come up with it again. What other? ISRG. I had that one down under 500 when the earnings came out. Now they got it right back up. If there's some uncertainty, I think this thing comes back down into the 450, 460 area. Literally, they start taking some of these babies down. They're going to take them down with impunity. It's like everyone's going to be caught in. Let's take a look at some of the things that we got out of. Really had a bad couple of weeks. So we haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks. They've been in pretty pissy moods. 3 losers in a row with options with Sohu. These things doubled within the first couple of days of having them. Expire worthless. Best Buy, waiting for a takeover there. Expired worthless. That was a spec. Soda was another spec. These things came up and doubled. Never said to sell. Expire worthless. I can't take credit for them. When they double, and then I don't say to get out of them. So that's where we're genuine about it. I know a couple friends of mine said, don't be so hard on yourself. If these things double, we're all responsible for our own, ins and outs, but you know what? I could have been a little better on that one. What I'm really good at, and every one of them that's in purple, are the buy and writes we're doing. We did a really good one on U.S. Steel and A&R. U.S. Steel in 2 months, we made 19.5%. A&R in 3 weeks, we made 15%. We've kicked back LCC. The options didn't expire, the 12s. Same thing with, what was the other one we did? LCC and, darn, what was the other one that we had? Rosetta Genomics, where that one, now there was one other that we had sold some calls. LCC and, you know what, for some reason, I can't remember. I think maybe it was just only one. We sold some calls and we got to keep the stock, and it just lowered our price. So we've just been doing about average on some of these. Best Buy's been falling apart. We're waiting for a supposed takeout there. We've got another couple weeks before I'll give up on that one. So we've only been doing about average. No cover calls right now. So in our positions right now, we've got the Amazon short. That one, we're only up 11% on that one. I expect us to be up over 20% or more. But let's go through some of the others I expect to come down. Now, one that has been doing pretty good, this Goldman's actually been acting fairly well. I give them a lot of credit. So this market's been, floundering and meandering. Goldman's been acting decently. I think Morgan Stanley's been acting decently. A lot of the financials that I did I do videos for Affinity Trading. Check out affinitytrading.com. They do some really good education. I know all the people there, good people. As you're seeing, we're getting up to some of the first resistance levels. Bank of America kind of broke through a little bit. They still look decent, but I still think we're going to have some sort of event. Something's going on in Greece again. They can't get themselves together. I just think that it's too easy for too many people been buying every dip. I think we need a double dip, and that's what I think we're getting right now. So be very, very cautious. I'm going to let go of a couple positions this week. I'm just looking at trying to think if there's some other stocks that are, Research in Motion had an interesting week. The options went from 3 cents here. This is the 2-day. I was looking at some of these, but I lost some money in some before when I got into it right up in here, and I lost, so I didn't get into it here. The options went from 3 cents to 90-something cents, to 95 cents. Now, you never get them from top to bottom to top, but I would have been in them at 3 cents, probably out at 9 cents. It kicked my way. It said, great, after I get out of them, they go up 1,000% anyway. So there are some interesting things out there. Netflix has had some incredible runs with the options, both on this side and on this side. Just amazing stuff. So right now, there's only one option I'm playing is the Best Buy potential takeover, although I just think that's almost like a dire situation. This guy, Schultz, if he's going to make his offer, I'd like to see him do it soon. Supposedly it was a 24 to 26 kind of deal when it was in here. I tend to think he can offer like 22 and take out the whole company, but it's been acting like crap, although the options themselves, you've been seeing a lot of volume. So that's basically it. Go to genuinetrading.com, sign up, go up here. It says go up to this link. Just sign up we'll notify you what's going on. I send out 1, maybe 2 emails a month. That's it. I'm not a pushy, salesy guy. In fact, I dropped doing a lot of the webinars I was doing, selling automated trading systems. I'm involved in that business. I'm involved with some really good developers. I'm just not out there to push and sell at any point. There's a couple things we're working on with Affinity Trading to be able to do some really good trading and work with some really good software. So just, stay in touch. Sign up either here under member sign up or where it says start here. Get on our list, and that way we'll also let you know via Twitter, via StockTwits. I have both the Walk-In Talking name and we have Prosperous Guy. We've got over 1,000 fans on each that we loud out everything we're doing, whether it's on Vringo, whether I'm doing some charts or, on Google. We did some things on Google and why CRM was going to fall apart. We did some really good videos where, again, I talked about, Apple. The target was 585 when this thing was just at 629, hadn't broken down yet. We got another 40 points off of there. So, there's some really good stuff that we're doing. Keep an eye on that, and have yourself a good trading week. This is Mike Levin with Genuine Trading. You can email me at mlevin for Mike Levin at genuinetrading.com. All righty, take care. Bye.